back to She Manifested It, the podcast. I'm Jill.
I'm Jessica.
And this is our book this week. So we chose The Law of Attraction by Abraham Hicks. I hope you had a chance to get your book and start reading. Look at my book and look at Jessica's book.
Mine happens to be brand new because I gave my original one away. So I got a brand new one from Amazon.
I know, I'm so jealous of Jessica's pretty shiny book. But I have a little story I want to tell you about that of the book.
Okay.
My book, I had a smaller version too, because actually it was pretty hard reading this because this one is 3 books in one. So it was like at night, it kept on like, this like big book falling on my head. But I did have just a single copy at one time. And I remember I was up north and I was reading my book and I left it in my hotel room. So then I phoned the front desk and I asked if my book was there. And there was this young girl, she answered the phone. She's like, you mean this is your book? And then I said, yeah. She's like, oh man, I've been reading it. And she's like, it was one of the best books I ever read. She's like, I'm kind of sad that you found me or that you found it. And then so what I did was I ordered myself another book. And then when I went back, she was working and I told her that she could keep the book.
Nice.
Yeah. So it found its way to her. And she,
my goodness, you probably changed her life.
I'm right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that before we get in.
So sweet. Okay. So how did it go?
Oh my goodness.
How was your new reading habit?
Okay. I'm not going to lie. It was very difficult. The book in general, like, oh my goodness, I had so many downloads. Like, as you can see, I'm like tabbing everything. I'm getting so much from it. But just the art of reading again, I haven't read in a long time and I didn't realize how long it's been since I've read because I've been just listening to audiobooks. Mm-hmm. So I had a really hard time getting into it. And I also had a hard time with the language. There was a lot of that kind of language and it was like, I know this because it is, and therefore it is because I know, and because
like
you know,
old
like
English-y
yes. Type. And so I had to get used to that again.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but once I got into it, it was just like magic. I felt so good. I felt so good reading this book.
Yeah. So I think I probably had found Abraham Hicks on YouTube, and it was during the time where I was like trying to figure out how do I make this work for me. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting how in this book there's the description of like, who is Abraham Hicks? Where does Abraham Hicks come from? So I wonder if that was like surprising to people. Like,
yes,
what's that about? That's weird.
Yeah, I think that like that was something that I remember when I read it the first time around. I remember struggling through that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like now it's whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember struggling through it a little bit, and I even marked it on my notes on page 12. I wrote down religion because I remember having that internal struggle with myself as wondering, like, should I be reading these types of things, or should I be focused more on, my religious beliefs or or just like the religious beliefs of people around me too. Mm-hmm. And that was really, right. I struggled with that in the beginning. And I'm talking like, not like when I first read this, originally 10 years ago.
But this time around.
Yeah, but this time around it was okay.
Yeah. You know what? That is really interesting that you say that, because I think that's something that really catapulted me into this world of manifesting and self-development. Was growing up, my life was void of culture and tradition and religion, or whatever you want to call it. Like, I didn't have any of that as a child. And so I was always seeking. And so I think I found that in these teachings. And so I remember first finding Abraham Hicks on YouTube, and just hearing, like, if you look on YouTube, it's just this woman speaking. She's just talking.
Yeah.
But the whole concept.
But her name is Esther.
Her name is Esther. Right.
But, yeah.
And so then the whole, like what this book goes into is understanding that Abraham, well, I mean, if you've read the book, you'll know who Abraham is. But it's that inspiration that's coming through Esther that's bringing the knowledge.
Yeah.
And for some reason, for me, that made sense. It resonated. It felt good. Even though, like, there was a small part of my brain was like, I don't understand, like, or that's weird maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was like, I don't care. I'm not going to worry about that part of it because the content is what I need. I could feel like my spirit like calling it.
Right. See, for me, it was a little bit, I remember having a lot of internal conflict at the time, because I remember thinking, I don't know if I'm supposed to, read this, or I'm supposed to, it's just all of these outside sources telling me that it was wrong. And just this
like
internal
evil?
battle. Yeah, not evil, but like it's wrong. Like so what I had to do, and I remember this so clearly, is what I had to do at the time was I had to find a way to make it make sense, so that it could be not just the law of attraction, metaphysical, but I wanted to understand it scientifically, and I wanted to understand it in religion. So I actually started doing research. That's how crazy I get into my research, is I started researching different cultures, and I started researching different religious groups, and I found the law of attraction in the Bible, and I found it in indigenous culture. I found it in East Indian culture, Chinese, like I found it all over the world. In every single culture, I found it. So what I realized is it's just another name for the natural laws of life. And every religion and every culture just has a different name for it. And that's how I was able to kind of like make peace with it going forward at the time, because I really did struggle in the beginning with, am I allowed to be reading these things? Because there were a lot of religious factors surrounding me.
Yeah.
That, and I was young. I remember like I was just in my early 30s when I picked up this book for the first time, and I'm just really kind of fresh on my journey of self-discovery and who I was and stuff. So I really did have to go through a lot of soul searching at the time.
I think that's so valid, because like in my instance, as I shared, like I was void of that, and I was looking for that, and I was, also having to decide, do I trust that? And is that going to work for me? And what I'm hearing you say is like, one of the questions for you was, is this okay?
Yeah.
And
because the message was so strong that I had to make it okay, because I resonated with everything in it so strongly that I had to find a way to make it okay.
I think honestly that happened so long ago for me that I don't even really remember. Like I think the biggest question for me was, is this going to work for me too? Like this, poor brown indigenous girl from the poorest neighborhood in Winnipeg. Could this be true for me too?
Yeah.
Like I think for me that was I was coming at it from a place of like honestly desperation.
Yeah.
I hated my life, and I was like, I thought that I was doomed to live in poverty, have terrible relationships, never be cared for, never like have anything work out for me. That's where I came from. Right. And when I started learning these principles, I was like, I think it's possible.
Wow.
It could happen. And like now when I think about my life compared to where I came from, like, holy shit. So in 2005, I lost a brother. And I remember during the funeral planning, one of my cousins came over and she gave me $100 to contribute to the food. And I was blown away. She wasn't much older than me. And I was like, wow, she gave me $100.
She has $100 to just
give away. I could not believe it. And that stuck with me to the point where today, not that I have all the money that I still want to manifest. I still want to manifest more money. But like, I've been in positions where I've had, a family in a situation, like a family member or whatever, and I've given them like $400. Mm-hmm. And I walked away from the interaction going, holy fuck, I just did that. And I'm fine. I'm not like, oh, I can't go out for dinner today or I can't buy coffee. Like, no, I could probably give him another $400 next week. I shouldn't say that. But to go from $100 being something huge, like those are the things that I think, some people who, maybe if you've never laughed or, I feel like maybe some people might not understand that. But for me, that was huge. And it was like truly transformational because it took me from being so powerless and so like not having a choice, not having, anything, to a place now where I can make a choice and I believe it's going to work for me. Someone like me.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah. Yes. I manifested it. Okay. So how, after getting over the fact that Abraham is speaking through Esther Hicks, how was the book? What came up for you this time around? Like what changed for you by reading a physical book again? This book in particular.
I wrote down so much, but I think it's just the lessons, like having those lessons again and a reminder of those lessons. It just reminded me that I know it needs to be done. Mm-hmm. I know it needs to be done. And sometimes I just need that kind of like kick in the butt to stay on track. And also just like, I can trust myself. Like, I know what I need to do.
Right. Yeah. You can trust that inspiration that's coming, because that inspiration is the guidance that we're supposed to follow.
I wrote down page 87, and it was talking about the emotional guidance scale.
Ooh.
Okay. And so when I read this book the first time, I remember, reading about the emotional guidance scale, but I didn't actually get introduced to it until you showed me an actual picture of what it was. And that really changed my life.
I remember because you printed it out.
Yeah. Because it was like, I didn't realize that you can't just go from happy to sad or angry to happy or, this and that. You can't just go immediately. There's like a progression. Yeah. There's stages that you have to go through in order to get there.
Yeah.
And sometimes people think that, they just need to be able to turn their mood around or turn their life around or turn their circumstance around immediately. And life doesn't work that way. Mm-mm. We should put in the, we'll put that on the Facebook page or a link in the show notes to the emotional guidance scale so that you can see what we're talking about.
So this is the emotional guidance scale. And I love it so much that I had it printed and laminated. And I put this on my fridge at home. I bring this to my workshops. I want to get actually a bigger one printed for the wall here. Because this kind of changed my life. Growing up, I wasn't, there was no conversation around feelings and emotions or anything. And this acknowledges 22 feelings. It outlines the upward spiral, the downward spiral. I mean, I think everyone has heard the phrase downward spiral, but people are not as familiar with the upward spiral. And I feel like that's part of my purpose, in my coaching and in sharing this tool, is I want people to realize that, there's a downward spiral. That shit is real. But you can be happy. People feel like happiness is something that we have to wait for. When I get that job or when I'm with that partner or when I do this, when I make this much money, then I'll be happy. Mm-hmm. And we need to stop doing that. And so I think that's one of the tools that kind of helps me do that. But this is exactly where I got it from.
Great.
Yeah.
And so on page 87, it talks about how we become removed from our internal guidance system. But what our internal guidance system is just like another word for our intuition. And it's like, and we become removed from it because we stop listening to ourselves. We stop listening to our own feelings and our own knowing. And then we're influenced by other people's opinions, other people's experiences, other people's advice, or other people's like lack of knowledge or lack of experiences. So we get influenced by others, and then we stop listening to our own intuition. And so that was like, that really spoke to me because it made me reflect on myself and where I am. And sometimes I don't listen to my intuition. Sometimes I don't listen to that, that feeling where, it's giving you negative feelings because it's wrong. It's doesn't fit for your life. It's not right for you. And I'm ignoring it. And I'm ignoring that, like I'm ignoring my own emotional guidance system. Right. But whereas, and also made me think of you while I was reading, is because you do listen to your intuition. You're very good at listening to your intuition. And I really admire that. Not only do you listen to it, like you trust your intuition and you do it immediately. Like, and sometimes you've had to remind me, like, to listen to how I feel. Like you don't need a second guess. Yeah. Like if you feel it, just do it. Just cut that person out, or just, Remember we had to do that at one point?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And I'll just share that story. Like there was just somebody that was in our lives that just didn't mean us any good. They were being harmful. And then you said, well, that's it. I'm done with her. I'm cutting her out. I'm removing her from everything, and I'm not going to follow her in anything, and I'm just done. Right. And I so admired that because for me, I was still going to allow her to take up space in my life.
Right. Because I think you were afraid to hurt her feelings.
Yeah. But she wasn't afraid to hurt mine. Right. Or yours.
And I had recorded a podcast with her, and I messaged my producer, and I was like, remove this podcast. Because I think for me, it's just like, I'm the creator, right? Like we are the writers. We get to decide what's in our life. And so, I mean, this book in particular doesn't specifically talk about boundaries, but that's something I didn't grow up with. And, people who have a hard time cutting others out, or whether it's cutting somebody out or just putting up a boundary, like you can't treat me like that. Yeah. That comes from people pleasing. And we're not taught to put ourselves and our own emotions first. So we don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings. So yeah, that was an important thing to do.
It was. And I always think about that too. Like whenever I'm not wanting to trust my intuition, and I think like, I need to be more confident in trusting my intuition, because that's my guidance, my inner guidance.
Yeah. When it comes to me making quick decisions, it's definitely based on my inner guidance. And when I listen to Abraham Hicks, it's almost like those, like every time I hear a piece of information that's received from Abraham, it feels like the truth. And so I'm like, well, if that's the truth, why am I going to sit and doubt it? Why am I going to look out in the world for the answer instead of feeling it and just going, okay, well, that's the way it's going to be. So I used to be terrified, and it was definitely Abraham Hicks that helped me build that confidence and trust and faith in being able to make those quick decisions. The fact that my life is what it is, that I have I'm a life coach and I can make money just by, showing up on social media. It doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, and it's not like in the real world.
In the real world,
it's not supposed to make sense.
It's not supposed to make sense. But I got here by following what my heart and my spirit has told me to do. And I always check in with that. And like all of it has to do with each other. It's like, okay, well, how does this feel? Like, there might be a day where I'm like, oh, there's an event going on and I really feel like I should be there. I want to go there. Okay, where's that coming from? Is that coming from my head and the fear of missing out? Or do I feel like I'm being called to be there? And if I don't feel called to be there, then I'm like, well, I'm not going to go.
Yeah, you're like, I don't feel like getting out of bed. I don't feel like getting dressed. I'm just going to stay home.
And I think, and I'll invite you to consider this, is when you don't listen to your intuition, there's always something that comes back to show you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, that same person or another person will just keep doing those things over and over and over until
and
you
then
get
you're like,
the message.
shit, I should have done whatever. I should have did what I thought I was going to do.
Yeah. So was there anything that really resonated with you or that stood out to you the second time around?
Yes. So I loved it all. I felt a lot of it was like those reminders, and it was almost like correction, like, okay, I've been doing this, but maybe I could change this. So that has been really helpful. But I think the thing that reading the book I probably missed completely the first time I read it, but in some capacity have been doing it anyway, is the workshop, the creative workshop.
I freaking think I missed it the first time around too.
Isn't that bizarre?
Yes, because when you said to me, oh my God, did you get to the part about the workshop yet? And I'm like, workshop? I don't remember reading about a workshop.
So the creative workshop starts on page 42. And so how I think I've done this anyway is it's a practice. So it's like the journaling, affirmations, visualization, like it's kind of all of it. But what I started doing was like, okay, I'm just going to do what it says in the book. And so Esther or Abraham, as they're going through, like, I'm now in my creative workshop. And so now you're feeling happy. You're sitting in some place in the workshop, and here's an example of what you do. And then it goes through like all of these affirmations, but also just like expressions of claiming, I feel good here. This is good. My life is good. And then for me, it's like getting on a rampage. Like everything is working out. I get special treatment wherever I go. I get surprise money, and like everything is just working out. But then you get to go into specific areas like, for example, business. Like the right people are hearing my message. People are so excited when they have to pay me. So it's like using those intentional focuses in the workshop. And so I found it could be challenging because what comes up for me is a lot of my limiting beliefs.
Oh.
And it's like, for the business, that could be okay. But then sometimes, and again, just in business as the example, if I want to go in a certain direction, but then I'm thinking, well, I don't know if that's going to actually work. And then what I'm learning now is I realize that's the thought that we need to write down and work out. Why don't I think that particular thing is going to work out? So this has really caused me to like go back to the foundational exercises, but actually do the work.
So the workshop is like when you're feeling bad or when you're feeling in lack, then you begin to focus on things that will make you happy, things that you want. And it's like taking your mind away from those negative feelings, those feelings of lack, and then just like redirecting your thoughts to the things that you want.
Right. Yeah.
And the things that actually make you happy. Can you think of a time when you've had to use that?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I think for me, when it comes to like, there are still some areas where I have a lack mindset. So for example, and I've talked about this on my podcast forever, was I want to buy a house. And right now where I'm renting, I've lived there for 16 years. The rent is so affordable that it's hard to leave because anytime I think of looking elsewhere, rent is double or triple. And then of course for a house, like it's so much more expense. Like it's completely different than renting. And at this time, I'm currently not manifesting a house, so I will say that. But there were so many limiting beliefs that would come up about it that would make me feel discouraged and so what I've learned is that you don't have to, like, the more that we focus on it, especially coming from a negative energy, like, oh, I can't have it, I can't afford it, it's never going to happen, all of these things, it's okay to pivot to another topic that's working. And like, for me, it's always my business, because I have so much pride in the work that I do, and I'm so grateful for the work that I do. And so when I move into that, then I'm actually allowing my energy to rise, and I don't have to worry about the house thing. And I'm not even, like, if it was something that I was, you know, intentionally or actively working on right now, then maybe it would be different. But other things have come up to make me not, you know, not move in that direction. But that's, I don't know, is that kind of an example that makes sense to you?
Yeah, it's like, because a lot of our struggles it is money, right? Like, let's not beat around the bush, let's not lie.
Yeah.
It's like we our struggles have been with money, especially like when you come from no money, a place of no money.
Yeah, you come from no money. You don't want money.
And then I was thinking so when I was reading and I was thinking back on the times when I have struggled with money, and then it says, okay, well, you know, how do you take yourself, you're supposed to do something, like either a physical action or even just a mental action. What would make you happy? And then I was like, okay, well, when I'm broke, what would make me happy? Oh, sitting at the casino would make me happy. And then I'm like, but I can't do that because I'll just feel shitty after if I don't win. Or what would make me happy? Well, I can go take myself out for a real fancy dinner, but then maybe I'll feel bad after because I needed that money for a bill. Or I could go shopping. That makes me happy. And then I was like, yeah, but then what if I, you know, start thinking I should just return this later? Mm-hmm. Like, I was having all these like battles in my mind. Well, how do I get myself into that feeling of what would make me happy when I feel broke? And then I was like, well, when I used to feel broke, I would go house shopping. I would phone up a realtor.
Why ain't I doing that?
I would phone up a realtor, and like, I did this like for 3 years. And I would make appointments, and I would get them to show me around.
I gotta do that. Why have I not?
But you know what? I would feel bad because they get excited. They're gonna make a sale, and I don't even have I have a bunch of debt. I have zero down payment, but I would still go. Yeah. And then I would get really excited about all these places and looking at all these places. And
I love that. You raised your vibration around it.
And like in 3 years later, I was in my house.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. And
okay, so I like where you're going. So what you're talking about is like when you want something. So maybe my story didn't apply, but when you want something and it feels like you want to be disappointed because they don't have it. So then how do you change it? What do you do about it?
Yeah, so I had to start thinking like of examples, like what can I do to make me feel good?
Oh, okay. That's such a good example because I think you're right. I think that's what gets a lot of people stuck.
It's like you're trying to take yourself from down here to way up here like in an instant. So you have to find those things in between to get you there.
That's right. And the goal, that's one thing that I'll say is that if you're feeling down here, which is that negative, disappointment, discouraged, the goal is just feel okay.
Yeah.
Like, let's not aim for, you know, dancing on the table with money. Like, yeah, of course we'd love that. But why, like, that's the mind fuck.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, okay, well, how do I just feel okay right now?
Yeah.
And it's not thinking about the problem because we can think it to death. And I'm sure we all do that. Let's just keep thinking about how shitty my life is.
Yeah.
Looking at cars. That's one thing that I've done because I love cars. I like having a nice vehicle. And even sometimes just listening to music. And honestly, if I'm really stressed and frustrated and I can't get out of it, I will do some of the things that you mentioned. So change the energy, go do something different, go for a walk, have a shower.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of stuff.
And going for a walk or to the gym always makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like a no-brainer. So that's when I get down on myself. Like, you know that going to the gym.
You know what to do.
Yes.
Why aren't you doing it?
Why am I not doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I have done, and I'm not recommending this or saying that this is the best thing, but sometimes if I'm really stressed out and I need to just get that topic off my mind, I'll just have a glass of wine or two to just kind of let it go, to not think about it. So sometimes I've used that as help. But yeah, it's changing up the energy. And then one of the other things is bridging a thought. So the reason that we're in that negativity of, I don't have it, I don't have enough, I just have all these bills. Like when you're focusing on it, that's what you're attracting, right? So you're going to get the disconnection notice, you're going to get the speeding ticket, or you're going to get, the invite to the place you can't afford to go to, right? And the more you focus on it, that's what you're attracting.
Yeah.
And so that's why you need to change up the energy, release and let it go, because that's what's happening. But then, and on page 50, it talks about the habit of thought. And we don't realize that our thoughts are running in habits. So there might be certain triggers, like going on social media might trigger, oh, I don't have this, I don't have the money. And you go into that loop again, which is a habit of thought. And then the bridge is basically saying, okay, I might not have the money right now, but I'm open to thinking maybe something exciting can happen today.
Yeah.
I'm open to thinking this doesn't have to be the rest of my life. I'm open to thinking that, maybe it could change, right? Like how I shared when I was talking about first understanding the law of attraction for me, I was like, what if it works? And sometimes that's the bridge, is just what if?
Yeah, that belief.
Yeah.
Like hanging on to that belief, that what if, instead of, oh, it's not going to work.
Yeah, because that's the habit of thought, is we've trained our brains that there's strong neural pathways in our brains that are saying, it's not going to work. Why is it going to work for you? You're such a loser. That, works for everybody else. Like that's the habit. We don't have to work at it. It just happens.
Yeah.
The work is the workshop.
Yeah.
It's going into the workshop and saying things like, okay, I see myself being totally fit. I see myself being so strong. I see myself wearing cute gym shorts. And it's creating it and allowing yourself to get into what Abraham calls as a rampage. Is just going off on a tangent, or
because once you change your state of mind, you change your vibration.
You raise your vibration.
Yeah. Out of that negative vibration, and just like that, on that emotional guidance scale, like you're raising your vibration higher and higher and higher.
And the more that you raise your vibration, the more that you're open to receiving on that vibration.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you're feeling low and shitty and the bills are piling up and blah, 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 you're attracting on that level. So yeah, you're not going to be able to find your, favorite jeans that you wanted to wear. And when you find them, there's fucking blood on the ankle. I don't know where that came from. Right? So once you raise
you also attract the people that are at your vibrational level.
Like, have you ever done that? Like, okay, so one of the things that I have done throughout my healing and still today is if it's built up, if there's whatever is going on in life, because shit will happen in life, right? Sometimes I'll need to have the freak out, the whatever. Sometimes it's crying to a friend. Sometimes it's, just yelling in my car, whatever. But that crying and that releasing is so important. And we don't, we're so embarrassed to cry. I, about a month ago or so, called one of my friends, Phoenix, because I was going through some healing shit. I lost my dad and I'd just been experiencing it and feeling it and allowing myself to go in it. And I called her one day and I was fucking bawling. I don't remember the last time I bawled like that, but I needed to sob. I needed to fucking let this shit out. And then once I did, later in the day and the next day, my vibe was just higher and I come back.
Yeah.
And then once you're at that higher level of vibration, the right people are coming. You're having these conversations that are so enlightening and inspiring, and you know, and I couldn't have that if I was in that place of, you know, fuck the world and whatever. That's why healing is so important, and this has such a huge important part of healing.
Yeah. And it's also like it teaches you acceptance as well. Or The Art of Allowing, part 4. And that really talked about, you know, we are the creator of our lives. So, you know, the shitty people that are in our lives is because we've allowed it. The situations and the circumstances that we find ourselves in is because, you know, we had a hand. Yeah. We created that for ourselves. Yeah. And so so when things happen, we just have to understand that I've created this, but I can also take myself out of it. Yes. You know, I can and it takes time. It doesn't happen instantly. And that's why people give up, because they expect it to happen overnight, and you wake up and you're like, fuck, I'm still in this house, or fuck, I'm still in this whatever relationship. But it does. It takes time. Mm-hmm. And it's the faith and staying committed to, I believe it's going to work. And it's not just saying it. You have to feel it. Yes. You have to feel the truth. You have to feel it. You know what? I'm getting 2 downloads while you're saying that. One is, she talks about your time buffer. We all have a time buffer. And then the other thing, you're talking about the feeling part. I feel like that's what The Secret was missing. Is they said, you know, like The Secret was more of, just think it, it'll happen. Yeah. No, you have to feel it. But let's talk about the buffer, the time buffer. Okay. So on page 39, they talk about a buffer of time, so that there is a buffer of time from when you begin to think about something and the time that it manifests. So I've often talked about this, and like I've often thought about this for myself, like what's my time buffer? And my time buffer is 4 months. Interesting. I know, and it's so crazy because now I've ingrained it in my head that if I want something and if I want to manifest it, well, it's going to take 4 months now.
That's so interesting. I wonder, like, I don't know that I would say that I have a set time, because I feel like it depends what it is. Mm-hmm. And it's not about size. It's about your faith. That's what I think. So, for example, some of the things that I struggle with the most, the reason it's not happening is because I honestly don't believe it. Right. I still don't believe it, even though I want it so bad. Like, I want $1 million so bad. So I've been thinking about money a lot lately, because I owe the government lots of money. And I'm like, how the fuck am I going to do this? And so I'm listening to lots of teachers who make a lot of money. And I make pretty decent money, but I'm like, okay, I need lots of money. I need big money. And so, like, right now I'm trying to feel it. Okay, how's that going to happen? So it's interesting thinking about I don't think it's so much about time for me. I think it's more about how aligned I am to that belief. Mm-hmm. And right now, there's still a barrier, and my job is to figure, okay, what's that barrier? How do I identify it? How do I transform it so that I can believe that I could just fucking receive money, big money?
You know, like when the reason that for me it's been 4 months is because I've developed this system in the way that I manifest. And I use it with my daughter. She's manifested all kinds. You know how my daughter is a crazy manifester, right? She manifests all kinds of stuff.
She fucking manifests. She says it and it is. She says it and it is.
So what I do with her is I do a 4-part plan, a 4-part planner with her. And I've been doing it for myself for years and years and years. And I do it with her now. And I will also link it, because I have like my manifestation journal that I wrote. Yes. And that 4-part planner is in my manifestation journal. So I'll link that. Okay. So I've been doing this for years. And so whatever I write on there, it almost always happens.
Oh my God.
I'm not even kidding. And even when my daughter, when she writes it on there, it almost always happens. So like if we write down,
we're all doing it.
Like, so if I write down if we write down like 7 things, probably like 5 or 6 of those things will make it happen. And then in the next quarter, I'll have my other things. And then in the next quarter, and then in the next quarter, I'll have these things. And I find that, okay, it takes me at least 4 months, because I clocked it into this like 4 month, 3 to 4 month window of when I want these things to happen for myself. And I've been able to take myself from like a $100,000 salary to like multiple $100,000 salary. Like I do these things for myself using that 4-part planner. And I know you showed it to me before, that my buffer of time is like 4 months. And I'm like, okay, you need to get rid of this. It takes me 4 months to make things happen. Like I need to get rid of that thinking. Right. Because it could happen quicker.
And slim it down to a month.
Yeah. But I also I also noticed that there's a lot of limiting beliefs in my 4-part planner as well. Yeah. Is I will write down things that I know I can achieve within a short amount of time. So I'm limiting myself to dream bigger. Because then I'm afraid that, well, what if I can't do it? So like I also have my limiting beliefs in there as well.
So I think the other thing that I wanted to touch base on with regards to this book, and I like that you mentioned the parts, because I feel like, so we already talked about like The Secret was very much about like just think it. They kind of left out a lot of the feeling of it. And I think that comes into play with, like when you're a new manifester, you manifest so quickly. You're like, oh wow, I got this thing. And still, I believe that it is about your beliefs and what you are allowing into your life. But it's almost like if we think it's bigger, we think the universe is making it bigger. But it's actually not. The universe, and it says that in here, the universe isn't so much about size. It's not about like a button or a castle. It's about how much do you believe that you can have the button or the castle. Yes. You might believe, I got fucking buttons falling out of my clothes, right? Like, or, a castle is harder to get. Like that's us. And so we need to align with that. The more that you get into manifesting intentionally, it's almost like there's more checkpoints. Do you feel that? Yeah. So the first one is the law of attraction, which is just like everything is being attracted to you. And it's only what you are doing that's preventing it from coming to you. So one of the ways that I talked about in my coaching was you're always manifesting, but we have these umbrellas that we put up. So like in the sunshine. And it's like, why the fuck would you bring out your umbrella in the sunshine when you're trying to get tanned, you're trying to get, those rosy cheeks, whatever. But you're going to put up your umbrella and you're blocking the blessings, basically. Yeah. And I might have like an umbrella that's like my house. Like I'm blocking it because of all of my beliefs.
Right. And you don't want to give up that really, that small rent.
Yeah. It's so easy. It's affordable. Yeah. It's familiar.
Yeah. And I'm always going to be able to afford it.
Yeah. Like if that's exactly it. Mm-hmm. So then there's that fear of, okay, the unknown, which is where we need to be. We need to regulate our nervous system, practice being safe in the unknown, because that's where the magic happens. Yeah. I fucking know that. Yeah. And in some areas I've mastered it. And in other areas I'm still just like, but what if it doesn't? Yeah. What if I die?
I used to have this goal. I wanted to earn $100,000. That was my goal salary. I put it in writing. I was working towards it, and then I hit that salary, or maybe around 29 or something, 29 years old, and then once I hit it, that's where I stayed, and I did not earn a penny more. For over 10 years, I just hit the ceiling, this glass ceiling that for myself. I didn't know how to dream bigger. Yeah. I didn't know how to look beyond that. to be on that money. And then, so now what I'm doing for myself is, one of the questions that they asked is, when you do your workshop, you have to know what you want. And then she says, and if you don't know what you want, then you have to ask to be shown what you want. So it's like, so if you don't know what you want, then you have to ask, like, show me what I want. I want to know what it is that I want.
Yeah.
So I was thinking to myself, okay, well, what do I want to work on for my workshop? Yeah. And I do know what I want. There are a bunch of things that I want. So I wrote down all of the things that I want, like my dream home, my business, like my different books and stuff. But I really want to figure out, okay, what out of all of those things that I wrote, what is it that I want to focus on and really make happen for myself, using the law of attraction, using the workshop, and just start bashing those limiting beliefs out of the fucking sky, and so that's what I'm working on right now, is like, I want to really do this workshop for myself, but I want to make sure that it's like something that I really want.
Okay, that's so good. So I feel like, again, for me, I have like some areas where I feel like it's easy for me to say, okay, this is what I want. And then other areas it's more difficult for me because of my limiting beliefs. So that's super helpful. And I want to use your 4-part thing. So I'm going to do that. I want to get clearer, and I want to give myself permission to want the things that I want. And I think that's something that maybe others need to hear, because I used to think that in order for me to want something, it needed to be something that the world would support, in a way, like, I want to be rich so I could support the poor children. Yeah. And although that's amazing and wonderful, and in ways we all give back to community, and we all find ways to support, but it doesn't have to be, like, it could just be because you want a nice car, and that's okay. We need to allow ourselves to be okay with that. But a question that I have for you is, what did you do to break through that $100,000 limit?
I just had to change my belief system, and I had to sit down and ask myself, well, what do I want in life? And the things I wanted, they cost more than $100,000. So then I had to start allowing myself to dream bigger. And I also had, just like what you were saying, is we almost have this shame around money and wanting money, and well, how come you want to be greedy, or how come you need more money, or how come you need this? Right. And it's like, I had to allow myself to be okay with wanting more money
and being different than everybody else.
I underlined page 113, and it says, if you do not take the time to line up your thoughts, there is not enough action in the world to compensate for that misalignment. And that's why I think that 4-part planner works, is because you're taking the time to line up your thoughts.
Oh my God, that's so exciting.
You're taking the time to organize everything, to show yourself what I want and how I want it. And so, and if you don't do that, if you're just dreaming about it, if you're just thinking about it, that's misalignment.
Right. So you need to get clear on what you want. You need to align your beliefs. You need to take action, which is inspired action, because we need to have that. We need to feel what's coming in from our spirit, the downloads. What is that, as opposed to what am I seeing and doing and watching on social media, right? Some teachers call it a mental diet. That's something that I'm huge on. Cut off the scrolling and all that shit, and just allow yourself to be in nature and just feel and hear what's coming from inside, that wisdom and that knowledge from our inner being, our inner guidance. It's always there waiting to share with us.
And the key, which you said earlier, is gratitude. Gratitude is having gratitude each day. It helps you start your day focusing on the good things already. Yes. So that gives you a boost.
So you're already raising your vibration.
You're already raising your vibration as soon as you wake up.
Okay. This was amazing.
Yes.
I'm so glad that we did this book.
I know, and I think we could just keep on going on and on and on because there's just so much in here.
So much.
Yes.
So we want to hear from you in the comments, like share the podcast, the comments in the Facebook group, and like let us know what came up for you.
Yes, and if you haven't read the book, like read the book, because something that I wrote down in my thing is, and I wrote this in big bold letters, is I feel like I can make anything happen. And that's how I feel after reading this book. I feel like I can make anything happen. So I'm so excited to see what I can make happen now.
And to keep, like, if that's how it makes you feel, then do it again, right?
And again and again and again.
And again. Yay. Okay, so this was
All
so
right.
good. What's happening next?
So now I'm going to introduce the next book. So the book that we are going to be reading next is called Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting by Lynn Grabhorn. So Jessica and I are going to take turns choosing books. I'm really excited for Jessica's the book that's coming up. But the book that I want to get us started with is this one. And the reason that I chose this one is because I really feel like when we were talking about The Secret earlier, and we said that The Secret is a lot of like visualizing and it'll happen. Think about it and it'll happen. But this book talks about the feeling.
Ooh.
You have to feel in order to make things happen.
Oh my
You
God,
have
I'm
to
so
have that
excited.
feeling. And, this may be a little bit, taking us back to the foundations again, things that we already do.
Yeah.
But I really feel like it's something that, we all need. We all need, especially if you're in your beginning stages of your journey.
Yeah.
You can't skip this part.
Okay.
It's the feeling part.
Because I haven't read that one.
Yay!
I'm excited.
Okay, so this will be our next book. So we'll link the link where you can get this on Amazon, or else you can just go get it at your local bookstore.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks,
See you
guys.
next time.